You're very welcome to episode 21 of the Off the Ball League of Ireland podcast. It's Jamie Moore here. We're here in the Aviva Stadium. The first round draw for the Irish Daily Mail FAI Cup has just taken place, and we can only speak to one man. Of course, the double winners from last season, Cork City. They won the FAI Cup 2 years in a row, and they're going to begin the road to another final, they hope, here in November, when the weather will not be as sunny as it is now, against non-league Home Farm in Dublin. Conor McCormack, how are you?
Jamie, how's things? You alright?
Great, thanks, sir. Yourself?
I'm good, thanks.
Your views on the FAI Cup draw away to Home Farm, sir?
Yeah, well, we'll certainly have our homework done, when the game comes around, and we'll make sure there's no complacency, in our team, and hopefully that we can progress. But it's never going to be easy. Yeah,
of course, there's some important league games to come, and of course Europe with the Champions League qualifiers, which you mentioned in a minute. But to try and be back here in November, trying to win a third FAI Cup in a row would be something you guys will definitely be aiming for. I know it's a little bit down the road, but I'm sure to be history makers like that is something you're looking to do.
Yeah, well, that's what we said, at the start of the year. We want to be up there, challenging for titles, and hopefully that we'll be here, come November again. Yeah,
one thing that Cork have been, I found very interesting this year and last year and the year before, is that the manager John Caulfield has treated both cups, but particularly the FAI Cup, with as much important as the league or Europe, and you've seen that in success, clearly being in two finals against Dundalk and winning a couple in a row. And I'm sure it'll be the same this year, even though the Champions League is going to be on, and possibly more Champions League or Europa League and the league to go for. But the FAI Cup has always been something Cork have placed a lot of importance on.
Yeah, well, it is. Every game's important for us this season. We go out wanting to win every game. And just to progress and to get to the final of the FAI Cup is something special as well. And lucky enough, the club have done that in the last 2 years.
What are your own happy FAI Cup memories?
Obviously, the penalty shootout last year. It was brilliant for us. I won it a couple of years as well with St Pat's. That was my first one. It was pretty impressive then, and I really enjoyed that. So, but even there last November, it was great.
What do you remember of the final last year? I was sitting over there on the far side. I wasn't actually working, so I could actually enjoy a game where you're not wondering who played that pass and who hit that shot. But it was another fantastic, tight game, and you guys managed to come out on top in the dramatic penalties with Mr. Mark McNulty as one of the heroes.
Yeah, that's it. They're never easy games, obviously, against Dundalk, and I think we started well that game, and Dundalk came back into it, and they went ahead. Nicholas Vemeland scored for them, and from a set piece, and Akil Campion come on for us then, and Carl Shepherd picked him out with a lovely pass, and he stuck it down his chest, and he's half volleyed it home, and then we knew then that we'd always have a chance, and winning the penalties, and we were pretty confident then in penalties that we were practicing for months in advance, that we knew that would come down, even if it was a semi-final or quarter-final or whatever, there'll always be a penalty shootout, and thankfully enough then that we all stepped up and we all scored.
I wonder, did Mr. Gareth Southgate get on to John about that, given the England heroic last night? What was the Cork City dressing room like after that game? Because you can win a game in lots of ways, but to win it on penalties against your main rivals here, to make it 2 in a row, must have been a great place to be.
Yeah, well, it's my first time winning a cup on penalties. We were obviously ecstatic. That we went in knowing that we could win the game, but it went the whole way, and especially going from 1-0 down, to getting it back, then to go into penalties, it was definitely it was unbelievable.
Yeah, the Cork Dundalk games over the years, I know you've only been involved in them for the last year and a half or so, but they've been just so tight and so brilliant, and this season's been no different. We had the 1-0 win for both teams in the league meeting so far, and then Dundalk stole it in the last minute on Friday, the live game on TV. What was your thoughts on that game, and losing late is a heartbreaking thing?
Yeah, well, it is tough. We went up there on Friday night knowing that if we performed that we could get the right result, and we went 1-0 down from a sloppy goal that we gave away, but we dug back in, and we got it back to 1-1, and I think we had a great chance then, to go ahead. Unfortunately, that we didn't take it, and then obviously right at the end, we gave them another chance, and they took their half chance. So that was the fine margins in the game. I don't think we deserved to lose, but that's just the joys of football, isn't it? If you don't take your chances and the other team do, they tend to go on to win. So unfortunately, we didn't get the points that we wanted last Friday, but most important thing is the next game now, which is Shamrock Rovers, now that we've been fully concentrating on them this Friday. Yeah,
of course, young Sean McLaughlin was the unlucky one to score the OG in the last minute. As captain and as a senior player, how do you have to kind of help him directly afterwards? Because I'm sure the Cork dressing room was a very disappointed place, but it was just an unfortunate one where the striker misses the ball, it hits the defender and it goes in, but I'm sure he was quite disappointed.
Yeah, well, he was. Sean's a great lad. Sean come in the middle of last season, I think, from UCC, and his progress from you know, in training and like into the matches then, and like obviously John's seen like how good he is and the quality that he has, and he's put faith in him, and he's put him into the team, and he's been exceptional for us this year. It was obviously disappointing. I thought he handled the game well the other night, and he was just unfortunate then to be caught in the wrong end of at the wrong end of the ball the other night, and unfortunately went in.
Yeah, I've spoken about the Dundalk Cork games here in Turner's Cross, 7,000 people every match, never remember really who you're playing, or most weeks anyway, and Oriel Park was packed the other night, and I know in the previous game you were taken off because you'd been booked, and you know it was a difficult game for you to be involved in. What are the away games like for Cork against Dundalk? Because they remind me of the old United Arsenal type things, and playing up in Oriel as a Cork player is you're basically going into a cauldron. It's the same for them then when they come to you.
Yeah, well, like they are tough games, you know, and like Oriel Park's like a tight ground, like you can hear everything, and the atmosphere is electric, and especially the other night. Now, to be fair, like it was really good. They do be tough games, you know, with the go into, and sometimes you come out on the right side of it and it's great, and then like obviously the other night that we were really disappointed to concede right at the end, you know, so you just wanted the ground to swallow you up, but you know, like we just get our chin up now, and we're fully concentrating on Shamrock Rovers now this Friday. Yeah,
it's been, you know, Cork Dundalk winning most weeks. Ironically, if one team has drawn, the other team has drawn, and it's been so close in points. They're now 2 ahead of you. Lots of games clearly to play, but you're now the chasers as opposed to being the top team. Last season you were the top team for the whole year, so it's a different prospect for you now. Although it's only, you know, this weekend for example, if there's a swing, they lose, you win, you're back top again.
Yeah, well look, we're not too worried now at the minute. You know, there's still, I think there's 12 games to go. You know, still a third of the season left to go. We're not expecting any other team to do us any favours. We just go into each Friday night game expecting to win, and hopefully if we can set ourselves right, and if we can win every game basically till the end of the season, there's no reason why we won't be champions.
Now this Friday you welcome Shamrock Rovers to Turner's Cross. The last meeting in Tallaght was a 3-0 win for Rovers, and Mr Graham Burke scored that goal in front of Martin O'Neill, which probably started his rise to the Irish call-up and his move. That wasn't a great day at the office for you guys, but bringing Rovers to Turner's Cross, I'm sure you're really looking forward to trying to bounce back with a win in front of another big crowd.
Yeah, well that's what I said, we were disappointed with last Friday's game, but we've another big game coming up Friday, and that's what you want, you know, straight into it again. And obviously we know what the threat Shamrock Rovers can cause, you know, and but we'll have our homework done, and we will be set out properly, and hopefully then that we can get the points that we need.
I know Cork and Dundalk has been the biggest rivalry in the last recent years, but Shamrock Rovers in the pot with both teams. There's been a little bit of spice in games. There's been big wins for both teams. You guys went there a couple of years ago. I know you went there at the time. Sean Maguire scored a hat-trick and so on. So putting Shamrock Rovers in the mix of these big games is something that's been kind of in play for the last couple of years, and they're a very good team, and they're big games to be involved in too, aren't they?
Well, they are a big team, you know, like everyone expects, Shamrock Rovers to be up there challenging as well, and there's never any easy games against Shamrock Rovers, but so we definitely won't underestimate them, and even though our home form's been good, we'll still get all our homework done and prepare right, and prepare like every other game.
Finally, Conor, on to Europe. Champions League qualifiers coming up very soon against Legia Warsaw from Poland. We've just been at the FAI Cup draw. What were your thoughts when you learned who you're going to face in the Champions League qualifiers?
Yeah, well, obviously it was going to be exciting, but we weren't expected to get any, weaker teams. You know, it's the Champions League at the end of the day. They're the champions of each country, and there's going to be no easy draws. So look, Legia are a great team, you know, from Poland, the Polish champions, and be a really tough game. So we're really looking forward to it. But as I said there, most important thing is we'll get Friday out of the way first, and hopefully we can get the 3 points within.
Yeah, Dave, of course, played Dundalk recently in European competition as well, and your manager John Caulfield did say that he thought it was the toughest draw that could have come out of the pot. What was the kind of view of the players when it came out? And you're going to go to Poland to play in a fantastic stadium in front of a big crowd, and they're going to come to Cork in a couple of weeks' time, 7,000 fans. It'll be their first competitive game, and they probably don't know what they're going to expect when they come to Turner's Cross.
No, well, look, as a player, like any player, you want to play at the highest standard that you can, that you're capable of, and for us, playing the Champions team, a Champions League against the champions of Poland. They're obviously a great team, and you want to test yourself, so hopefully that we can apply ourselves right, and set up right, and hopefully that we can get a result that we need.
It's been such a busy league period with so many games packed in, and then the break, of course, but to have Europe on the horizon must be very exciting as a player, especially it being Cork's first time in the Champions League as opposed to Europa League and everything that goes with that. It's probably what you play football for, really.
Yeah, well, it is. It's exciting times for the club, you know, and for the players as well. We're really looking forward to it. So every game, we treat every game as a big game, and hopefully that we can get the result on Friday night, and really look forward to it then next Tuesday.
Lastly, Conor, how are you handling the heat and how are the players handling the heat? I'm roasting here, we're in the Aviva, the aircon is on and it's still absolutely roasting. There's been water breaks in the League of Ireland for the first time I can ever remember. They'll probably be the same this Friday. You're being obviously full-time training in the mornings, 12 noon, it's very warm. How have you handled it?
It is tough, you know, like even training sessions, you know, the training go on for an hour and a half and stuff, and like it does be difficult. Obviously you have to take on board as much water as you can, you know, to recover. You know, and then staying out of the heat then after training, you know, relaxing and getting yourself prepared. Especially then last Friday was very difficult to play, you know, especially in the AstroTurf, whether the heat's bouncing off the artificial
rubber.
Yeah, the rubber bits, and it was exactly what we needed. It was a water break, because I think everyone that you seen the tempo of the game, like it was slowing up like a little bit. You know, so every player enjoyed it. Like.
Any water fights in the Cork training ground? I see most weeks on Instagram Shane Griffin and Kieran Sadler are having some sort of a rivalry against each other, doing different things to each other, their clothes and all, and anyone having little water fights?
Sure, look, you know, like the losing team usually gets, you know, like a soaked afterwards or whatever, but there's a bit of a water shortage now, is there, around the country, so I'm not sure we're allowed to do that anymore.
See that? He's been listening to the news. There's a hosepipe ban, so no water fights. And the manager, John Caulfield, the other night in Dundalk wore the suit, so he mustn't be enjoying the heat too much, because he stayed in the gear. But anyway, he's hopeful to lead you guys to another win, FAI Cup win, of course, as well, and a big European run. Conor McCormack, thanks a million.
No problem, Jimmy.